In the morning edition, today is budget presentation day, and the Minister of Finance says no VAT increase. Ministers speak to looming hotel strike, and it's Wednesday. Let's take a trip to Grand Bahama. Good morning and welcome to the morning edition. I'm LaDawn Davis. Today is budget presentation day. Later on this morning, the Deputy Prime Minister and the Minister of Finance will present the Bahamas budget. Before we get started, let's turn things over to Jimanita Swain to find out what to expect this morning at the House of Assembly. Good morning, Jimanita.
Good morning, LaDawn, and good morning, Bahamas. We're coming to you live from Roston Square, just outside of Parliament. Now, a big day for the Minister administration as the Deputy Prime Minister and the Minister of Finance, the Honorable K. Peter Turnquest, is expected to deliver the budget communication in just a few hours. Now, following that communication, there will be debate on the budget that will last about three weeks before it's passed. Now, during the landmark budget communication that was delivered last year, we saw the value-added tax moving from 7.5% to 12%. Now, some persons expressed concern, wondering or not we would see a VAT increase this time around. Now, the Deputy Prime Minister, the Honorable K. Peter Turnquest, as we told you, told reporters yesterday that there will not be an increase in the budget, as he indicated for the communication that will take place later today. That's as much as he had to say about that communication, so we'll just have to wait and see what else is contained in that communication. So, as you can expect in a few short hours, you will see Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Hubert Minnis and his cabinet making their way from the Churchill building over to Parliament for that communication to take place. Now, one of the key features that often occurs is during that time when they make the procession, we usually see a red briefcase with the communication being brought over. Now, we're going to wait to see whether or not it's going to be a red briefcase or a black one. So, as I said, that will take place about 10 this morning. So, stay tuned to the ZNS network. But for now, back to you in Studio LaDawn.
Thanks, Jimanita. The scene of excitement is now set. Our Chief Meteorologist Basil Dean is here in studio to see just how things will flow weather-wise on the budget presentation. Good morning, Basil.
Good morning, LaDawn. I was at Nest Tower Cam this morning overlooking the Palmdale area and near clear skies with just a few clouds floating around. And that's pretty much the same throughout the northwest Bahamas. As we go to our satellite picture, high pressure is depicting that. But in the central and southeastern parts of our country, not quite the same. Lots of clouds there, and we'll tell you why that's happening later in the newscast, so do stay tuned. Outside of our studios, we have partly cloudy skies, temperature 75 degrees, relative humidity 88%, easterly winds at 5 miles per hour. The barometric pressure 1,015.0 millibars, that's 29.97 inches, and it is steady. Temperatures around the islands this morning: Marsh Harbor at 76, 75 in Green Toll Key, also Freeport at 75 degrees, in the Berry Islands 78, Allenstown, Bimini 72 degrees, 77 in Harbor Island, Roxanne, Eleuthera, Otterstown, Cat Island, Staniel Key at 78, also Kemps Bay in South Andros, Fresh Creek and Central Andros at 78 degrees, 77 in San Salvador and Rum Key. As we take you into Ragged Island, 79 there, Clarencetown, Long Island, Crooked Island, Betsy Bay, Acklands, Matthewtown, and the Turks and Caicos Islands, all at 79 degrees. Your boating forecast for today for all areas: east to southeast winds 10 to 15 knots, your wave heights 2 to 4 feet. Low tide will take place at 9:56 this morning, high tide at 4:13 this afternoon. That's going to do it for your first look at weather, the morning edition. Stay tuned. Your forecast for today, tonight, is still ahead.
Thanks a lot, Basil. And once again, we're going to turn things over to our Jimanita Swain, this time for the Bahamas First Traffic Report with the traffic team and our trusty traffic drone.
The Traffic Report is sponsored by Bahamas First. First in insurance, today, tomorrow.
Thanks again, LaDawn. As you can see, we're still in Roston Square. Traffic has been a pretty smooth flow, that is, through the downtown city center for most of the morning. But we're going to now turn to Corporal Decore Bar to find out what can be expected as you prepare to make your morning commute. Good morning, Corporal Bar.
Good morning, Jimanita. Good morning, Bahamas.
Now, I know one of the things that you mentioned when we spoke yesterday was the fact that the roadworks are ongoing at the Samaila Butler Highway. Any word of caution to motorists? Because I know that there were some concerns. I think people were surprised, in essence.
Yes. However, with what the surprise that we had earlier this week, now that we know that those road works are going on, we'd advise motorists who have to commute through that corridor to be just exercise caution and, more importantly, patience, as one of the lanes, which is the western northbound lane, is not in use. That lane has already been stripped and being made ready to repave. We've been assured that the roadworks would not last for an extended period of time, and the road should be open in a matter of days. We just ask persons to exercise patience whilst commuting through that area, and if they have to, or if they don't have to, they could find another route.
Well, we know that a lot of persons traverse that area. A lot of persons live in the Carmichael area, so that's not an area that's easily avoidable. But are there any other areas of concern that motorists need to be mindful of? Other than that, then we know what they need to be doing. At this present time, we have no traffic congestions, no traffic accidents to report. So motorists who are using any other area should have a smooth commute. Persons again in the Carmichael area, we just ask that you get out a bit earlier, or again find another route. We have Gladstone Road or maybe even Carmichael Road to get out of that southwestern district. Well, that is, of course, Corporal Decory Barr. Again, make sure to buckle up and put on your seatbelts and drive within the speed limit as you make your morning commute. Back to you in Studio LaDon.
Thanks a lot, Jimanita. Now on to our top story this morning. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, the Honorable Peter Turnquest, putting to rest any concerns about an increase in value-added tax. The question was put to Turnquest outside of the Churchill building as he prepared to enter to attend the weekly cabinet meeting. Speaking ahead of the budget communication set for this morning in Parliament, Turnquest says last year government unveiled its 3-year midterm consolidated budget, which is up to 2021. He expects this year's budget to have a positive report.
In that budget document, there is no indication that there will be an additional increase in value-added tax. We explained to the Bahamian people very clearly that the plan that we put forth would be sufficient and would manage our situation through the end of that plan. We are very proud to say that we have been faithful to that plan, and it has been working. And so, I take note of the unfortunate scaremongering that has been being put out by the opposition, which I think is very irresponsible, quite frankly, particularly from the sources that it's coming from, who knows better or should know better. But be that as it may, I guess they do what they do because they have nothing else to talk about. But at the end of the day, there is not anticipated to be any value-added tax increase. I would only say to the Bahamian people to listen to reliable sources.
Tourism officials comparing a strike in the hotel sector to a nuclear disaster that they're hoping will be avoided with all issues resolved in ongoing contract negotiations. The Bahamas Hotel Catering and Allied Workers Union plans to take a strike vote on Thursday. Both labor and tourism officials have applied for calmer heads to prevail. In the midst of discussions over a new industrial contract between the hotel union and the Bahamas Hotel and Restaurant Employees Association, the issues of contention are the removal of 15% gratuity, Christmas bonuses will be paid in January, ham and turkey eliminated, and Christmas bonus being paid based on the hotel's profitability and not just one's weekly wage. Tourism and Aviation Minister, the Honorable Dionisio de Aguilar, and Labor Minister, Senator the Honorable Dion Folks, offered these views.
A strike at this time in the hotel industry would be devastating. 55% of our economy is based on tourism. Taxi drivers, straw vendors, hotel workers, restaurant workers, many tens of thousands of Bahamians rely on the tourism industry for their livelihood. With the coming on stream of Bahama and with the growth in the other hotels, 5,000 to 6,000 additional workers have entered into the tourism market and are benefiting directly from the tourism market.
Sympathetic and understandable from the position of the hotel union, but it is a process that we are engaged with. The government sees this as a top priority to bring a settlement.
Hundreds of Bahamians have secured major positions offered during several Labor on the Blocks initiatives across this country over the past few years, but there are still dozens waiting on a call for that big job opportunity. Acting Director of Labor John Pinder telling ZNS News yesterday that the Labor on the Blocks initiative has been quite successful in allowing Bahamians to register into the Skills Bank, upload resumes, receive training for job interviews and educational advancement. Although Pinder could not say what jobs are currently available, he explained why it was so important to enhance the country's skills bank.
If an employer is applying for a labor certificate from the Department of Labor, we normally check our skills bank to see if there's any Bahamian qualified for that position before we actually issue a labor certificate. And so we will always look in that skills bank, and if we see a Bahamian that's qualified, we'll deny the labor certificate and ask the employer who's applying to interview a Bahamian or Bahamians that are qualified for it.
Police investigating a shooting incident which left a juvenile male dead and 2 others detained in hospital. Reports are that shortly before 11 last night, 3 men were walking on Raymond Road when they were approached by 3 armed who opened fire in their direction, injuring them before running away. The injured men were transported to hospital where a short time later, the injured man was pronounced dead. The other men are listed in serious condition. Now, if you have any information that can assist police with their investigation, you can contact the Crime Stoppers at 328-TIPS or your nearest police station. When we come back, a trip to Grand Bahama is imminent. It's Wednesday. Stay close.
Look, it's simple. Fidelity can consolidate all your bills with their debt consolidation loan. Give you 1 monthly payment and money in your pocket.
So let me get this straight, Miss Financial Coach. You say something about cash in my pocket?
Yes.
And a savings plan with 5% interest? Wow, finally! A bank that's looking out for me. What you want me to sign?
That's not all. We also offer competitive interest rates and free financial coaching.
That's right, LD. You ain't hear me. Where do I sign?
Our marine resources were once considered inexhaustible. Conch and reef fish like grouper were abundant everywhere, and it seemed as if the lobster catch would rise forever. But today, there is a downward trend that affects everyone. Researchers say we can reverse the trend by protecting more marine habitats. And the good news is that most Bahamians strongly support efforts to halt further decline. Tripling the size of our network of marine parks will mean more fish and conch for everyone now and for the future, as well as more recreational and ecotourism opportunities. Today, only 10% of our waters are protected. Surveys show that most Bahamians consider protection of our marine environment to be a top national priority. More protection means more benefits for everyone, now and in the future. It's a win-win-win strategy for the economy, for Bahamians, and for nature. Protect our sea, protect our way of life, protect the Bahamas. See the future. Visit Bahamas Protected on Facebook to learn more about marine protected areas.
ZNS is very informative to me. It keeps you up to date on what's going on in the Bahamas, and you get to hear it firsthand early in the morning.
Welcome back to the Morning Edition. Member of Parliament for Fort Charlotte, Mark Humes, telling ZNS News recently that his team will be partnering with members of the Urban Renewal again this year to keep the kids in his constituency off the streets and into more positive activities for the long summer months. He gave ZNS News an update on what types of summer programs will be up for the taking this summer.
This year, what I wanted to do is look at a choir workshop for young adults and we're doing an arts camp where we're focusing more on performing arts like drama. So at the end of the summer, what we're hoping to do is have the music component and the acting component come together for a performance. So that's what we're looking at coming out of the Fort Charlotte Center.
Fashion designer Anthea Bullard is making waves down in Grand Bahama, rather. Che Philippe of the Northern Service caught up with her to hear all about her visit to the Wendy Williams Show.
She's from the Bahamas, and she's today's eye candy. And I have, look, all I know is I see beautifulness. Oh, thank you. How you doing? How you doing, Wendy? And so the real trip is that you are a designer. You made this dress?
Yes.
Talk about it, Thea.
So I'm a fashion designer. I made the dress, and my stockings and shoes came from Zara. I paid about $60 for the
Fantastic. Thank you for coming all the way from the Bahamas. We'll be right back.
Bahamian fashion designer Anthea Bullard recently represented the Bahamas in New York at the Island of the World Fashion Showcase. The showcase is an event that happens once a year for some of the top fashion designers in the Caribbean. The talented fashion designer talked about her recent encounter at the Wendy Williams Show.
I went to the Wendy Show just as a regular audience member. Did not expect to be on the show, but she has this piece in her show that she usually does called Eye Candy of the Day. So I'm sitting in this little room waiting for the show to start, and apparently Wendy has a camera in this room from her dressing room, and she scopes out and picks out her eye candy of the day. Sat back down, then Wendy comes up to me and she's like, "Girl, you really made this dress?" And I'm like, "Yes." So she said, "It looks like Balmain." And I'm like, "Oh, thank you so much." So then it started, it happened, and it's just been a roller coaster ever since. The response I've been getting locally and internationally has been overwhelming.
Anthea Bullard was drawn to fashion from her early years. Her love for sketching flashy, elaborate designs that she often showcases at various shows has spearheaded her career as a fashion designer. She also said her biggest inspiration through it all has been her mother.
Well, it started off as a little girl. It used to be a hobby of mine, just playing with dresses, recreating gowns, cutting, gluing, whatever it was. It was just a hobby. And not until I went to college and realized that this is a career that I'm getting into, I decided to take it seriously. So in like around 2010, I created the line Hadar Collection.
What kind of advice would you give to any young aspiring person that wants to be involved in the fashion industry?
I would definitely say never let fear stop you from your opportunity. Speaking from experience.
Wow, that's some excellent advice to anyone that's really pursuing a career, whether it be in the fashion industry, industrial industry, tourism industry, corporate industry. Thank you so much for sitting down with me today. Truly learned a lot about you.
Christian, some great designs there by Bullard.
You would look very nice in that dress, and you know what? I'm going to buy you that dress because I didn't know you know sports, and you did a good job pinch-hitting for me yesterday when I had an emergency.
Not a problem. Anytime, Christian.
Well, coming up in sports, we're going to talk about golf. A big golf tour is on for this weekend. That and much more coming up in sports.
This is a PSA from We Buy, You Sell. The protection of your businesses, homes, and families is very important. We Buy, You Sell offers the best in hurricane impact windows and doors designed to withstand all categories of hurricanes, with prices beating our competitors by up to 50%. We also specialize in porcelain, mosaic, and plank tiles. We Buy, You Sell. Located at number 163 Robinson Road. Call 677-2856 or 324-6427. We Buy, You Sell. Come and see us today.
1540 AM, 104.5 FM plays all the Bahamian hits.
Just call my name, 'cause love is crazy and understanding.
All the hits, one station. The Bahamas is moving to the music. Music that makes you feel good.
The scent of your skin is intoxicating.
Home of the #1 Bahamian music beat, 1540 AM, 104.5 FM, the People Station.
It's the OT with yours truly, Charles Fisher.
Buddy Hield and the Kings have their...
Buddy Hield seems to be having the best season of his career. He had 32 points the other night. It was a bit disappointing, Shawnee Miller not winning the IWF World Female Athlete of the Year. The high school rankings will soon be out. Tabernacle, the defending champion, CC Sweeting, they are always there. Who will it be this year? Each Monday on 1540 AM and 104.5 FM, it's the OT with yours truly, Charles Fisher.
For the latest news and highlights in Bahamian culture, tune in to the new Junkanoo 242, Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. on the ZNS Radio and Television Network. Radio Bahamas 1540 a.m. and 104.5 FM and TV 13. Each week, host Arlene Nash Ferguson and Darren Bastian engages listeners with some of the movers and shakers of Junkanoo and Bahamian culture. Don't miss Junkanoo 242, Saturday at 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. on the ZNS Radio and Television Network.
For the next 13 on 13 television documentary series, honored as a national hero and described as a sportsman par excellence for winning the nation's first gold medal in sailing, the late Sir Derwood Knowles is our feature in the ZNS 13 on 13 television documentary series for the month of May. Join us for his story in Charted Course, beginning the first Sunday in the month of May and throughout. That's the story of the late Sir Derwood Knowles, coming to ZNS Television.
Good morning once again. Thanks for joining us on Sports. Karen Gordon, she's the coordinator of the Bahamas Professional Golf Tour, and that will be held this coming weekend. First of all, welcome to the morning edition.
Thank you for having me.
What is BPGT?
Well, when we think about BPGT, we think about the Bahamas Professional Golf Tour. So it's a tour that we have about 8 months out of the year that caters towards top amateur golfers, top professional golfers, as well as top junior golfers. We try to create an atmosphere where Bahamian golfers would not have to travel, because most times, in order to have that like competitive drive within a golfer, you have to leave the Bahamas and actually to compete with your peers. But now we have one that's based in the Bahamas, that is Bahamian operated, that is Bahamian spearhead, and that caters to not only Bahamians but also golfers from the United States as well. And we tend to have it open, so it doesn't have to be from the United States or just the Bahamas. But for right now, we cater to those from Houston, Texas, from Abaco, as well as Freeport, Bahamas, as well as Nassau.
How long has this tour been in existence now?
Well, our first tour started May 2018, and we did 8 months of the year, and now this Friday will be the first for 2019, and it will continue to be 8 months for the year.
Tell us about this one this weekend.
Well, this one is sponsored once again by Bahamas Ways, who was our first sponsor for May 2018. And, we want to give thanks to Franny DeCardenas as well as his whole team, because they come out full force and they help and they support as well as best as they can, and we appreciate them for that.
Top level golfers?
Top level golfers. And, we have a common misconception that maybe Bahamians don't play golf, or we don't have one that's at a good level. But we have top golfers like Mr. Greg Mincock, Mr. Ricardo Davis, Lemon Grosby, so many top golfers, as well as junior top golfers as well, along in the program.
How many of these tours are held in the calendar year?
8, a total of 8.
Mm-hmm. They're spread throughout the island, throughout the Bahamas, or just basically here in New Providence?
It's basically here in New Providence. We've had some Paradise Island at the Ocean Club Resort, as well as Bahama at their golf course. So we've done a couple at both locations, but it's primarily in Providence.
And at the end of the tour, how are the champions decided?
Well, the champions are decided based on their scores throughout the year. Based on your handicap, having a very low score, having that tallied up for the 8 months that you've participated, and that's totaled by top professional golf, top amateur golf, as well as top highest paid golfer as well.
So this weekend, you're starting on Thursday or Friday?
We're starting on Friday.
Friday,
yes.
One-day competition.
One-day competition.
When does it start? And how does it end?
Okay, so it starts at about 12 noon. We accept golfers coming in to sign up, and then they can go ahead. And it lasts until about 5 o'clock or so. And then this particular one, we have a cocktail reception that's held on the grounds at the Bahama Golf Course.
That's the Bahamas Professional Golf Tour.
Yes.
This coming weekend, go on down and check it out. I'd like to thank Gordon for joining us in the studio this morning, nice and calm, and everything is went all right, and hopefully you have a great turnout this coming weekend.
Thank you.
All right, that's going to be it for sports. More coming up after the break.
For the next 13 on 13 television documentary series, June 1st, 1942 marked a major milestone in Bahamian history. It was 77 years ago this date the Burma Road riots took place. Join us for this historical walk beginning the first Sunday in June as we reflect on this occasion. It's our next 13 on 13 television documentary series entitled A Milestone in Bahamian History, the 1942 Riots. That's the first Sunday in June beginning at 8 p.m. on ZNS Channel 11.
As an artist, I travel all over the world and I find inspiration all around me. From the people and especially the environment. I love the Bahamas with all its natural beauty. From Abaco in the north to Inagua in the south and all the wonderful and colorful islands in between. But we must all do our part to keep the Bahamas healthy and clean, now and for the future generations. That's why I want you to find a little time to do your part. I'm doing my part because I care. Do you?
In our final look at weather, we get you started with our satellite discussion, and we have high pressure controlling the weather over the northwest Bahamas, and that means lots of sunshine during the daytime. However, in the central and southeastern Bahamas, from South Long Island all the way down to Inagua in the south, there are going to be lots of cloudiness with pockets of showers and thunderstorms throughout the day. Our forecast for today, up here in the north, mostly sunny and warm, high temperature up to 86 degrees, and tonight we're looking at mainly clear skies, 75 degrees for your low, and extended weather forecast. Beautiful weather over the next 7 days. Lots of sunshine during the daytime. Those nights, we have very little clouds during the nighttime, and the temperatures, they're going to remain in the mid-70s, which is somewhat on the mild side. LaDawn.
Thanks a lot, Basil. That's it for us this morning. Tune in at 10 a.m. this morning for the Budget Pre-Show with our Altavis Munnings. I'm LaDawn Davis. Have a fantastic day.